Hey guys, this is Blake here. I'm here to talk about Priest. And I've been postponing it for so long because I've just been so sleepy lately, and I'm still a little sick. So I don't even know if that's going to affect the next Critiquing the Critics episode. Okay, with Priest, you've all heard that pretty much it sucks, but luckily, Priest has something going for it that, well, I guess most movies have, that I have really low standards. But actually, what ended up benefiting this movie more, in my opinion, is almost immediately after watching it, I went and watched Killers with Ashton Kutcher, and boy did that movie suck. That movie is like, it pissed me off bad. And so naturally that will make anything look good in comparison. So, yeah, Priest is not a good movie. When I first saw the trailer, I was pretty enthusiastic. It looked awesome. I love the whole genre-bending type universe. You have kung fu guys fighting vampires. I mean, that's like perfect for me. That's martial arts and horror films are where I get my name from. Not to mention the obvious spaghetti western influences, the heavy sci-fi influences of movies like Blade Runner, because, you know, every futuristic movie has to rip off Blade Runner for some reason. And not to mention some fantasy aspects too. So, you know, like I said, the trailer looked cool. I always love that Two Steps from Hell music. That always makes every trailer seem badass. But I also knew that the movie was going to suck. I don't even know why I knew that. It just, something about it struck me as it was going to suck. Plus, it was directed by the guy who did Legion, so that's never particularly a great thing. Even though I don't think he's a bad director, Legion wasn't a great movie. So with Priest, I will give it credit here. It looks great. I thought the CGI was actually pretty good for that type of movie. It only cost, I think, $60 million to make. The vampire designs look good, even though they aren't particularly novel. The weapon designs are cool. The settings are really well designed. I even like the stupid Blade Runner ripoff city. And I love the irony in that the city that's supposed to be safe is like all dark, murky, and depressing, whereas the outside world, which is in more danger, is much more bright and vivid and sunny, and that looked pretty cool. Even though it's still not like a pleasant place, it does seem more tolerable than that city. And the director does a good job when it comes to making people look cool. People just seem to stand in the right places, you know. So there's good framing and staging. So as I said, it looks great. The cast is solid. The problem is that the characters are really boring, so a lot of the actors don't really make them that interesting. Like, for example, Paul Bettany, I believe his name is. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. He's a solid and capable actor, but just like Legion, I thought the character was so boring, and Paul doesn't make him that interesting. He's not like Jason Statham or Vin Diesel, who they're just really naturally charismatic, and I could watch them practically do nothing but the dishes all an hour and a half, and I'll be happy. Although I say that, and yet the mechanic really underwhelmed me, and I haven't really cared for anything Vin Diesel's done, other than some of the Fast and the Furious movies, and I guess Pitch Black. But the only person who I thought really stood out in this movie is Karl Urban as the villain, Black Hat. For one, he looks awesome in his Clint Eastwood type getup, but he overacts like crazy, but he's having such a blast with the role, and what is otherwise such a dull movie that he made it entertaining for me. Every time he popped up on the screen, I was happy. You know, he was just great when it came to chewing scenery. And he looked funny, too, like when he fights those three priests. You know, just like the faces he'd make and the exaggerated movements. But I love that kind of stuff. I always like it when like somebody is so interesting that you want more of them. And he was definitely the scene stealer for me. Unfortunately, where the movie, I think, really kind of blows is not much seems to happen. It seems very low-key. For example, almost all the action scenes really are in the trailers, and they're not that much longer than what you see in there. for the most part, the movie's just talking, explaining things, explaining the relationships. I thought that was weird because it seemed like the movie wanted to focus more on the characters and the drama at hand, but all the relationships seemed really shallow. They're only there because the movie says they're there. So none of them carry any kind of weight. We don't care anything about them. And the movie has so much wasted space. Like, take the main priest, for example. The film keeps offering different kinds of development they can give him, but they never follow through with any of it. For example, early on in the movie, he's expressing that he has doubts in his faith. He has questions and stuff like that. So, okay, is that going to be his development? Is it going to be him refining his faith? Or perhaps even becoming even more disillusioned with God? No, they never really bring that up again. Or another scene where the guy who he meets up with says that he appears to be really enjoying killing these vampires, even though I never could see that in his facial expressions. Okay, that's still an interesting concept. Even more so when you consider that he might have to kill his own niece if she is infected. So, they could have played with that. They could have made that really interesting. Never bring it up again. And they keep referring to the fact that he might have to kill his niece, but that never really becomes a situation. In fact, and I know I'm kind of spoiling this, there's never really any threat of her being infected. Nothing. Her life is on the line at points, but the possibility of her being infected is never even there, making all of those scenes pointless. And that's what it kind of felt to me. At the screenwriter, I don't know what he's done before this, but he just didn't seem to really know what he was doing, and would keep offering these ideas, which he probably thought would make it more multi-dimensional. But since he never does anything with them, he never follows them through, nothing comes across as necessary. And that's what really made this movie disappointing for me. It was just, if this movie was all action, I probably would have liked it a lot more, just because, at least it is what it is. But the fact that it wanted to focus more on the drama and was failing miserably at it, that's what I thought made it more of a failure than a success. In a way, it's kind of like The Last Airbender, where everything is just, like I say, explaining and talking. But I think this is a little bit better than Last Airbender because I think the acting is better and it's a little bit more compelling. I'm trying to think of other things to compare it to. Jonah Hex, I think, was much more about the action, but it was just so stupid and with some weird-ass devices that it kind of dragged that one down, too. So I guess Priest is a little bit better than that, maybe. All in all, I'd only recommend it maybe on DVD or even TV. I think if it interests you, because the concept interests me so much that I almost feel like I have to watch it, regardless if it's going to be good or bad. So if you're like that, you probably have already seen it in theaters. If you haven't, I'd just say wait till DVD. If it doesn't interest you that much, watch it on TV at the most. You'll live without it fine. So that's it. If you want to read my written review, please check the link in my description. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you guys later.